All right, we are live on YouTube.
Now.
Idiot.
All right, and we are live on Twitch. I saw the post.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sammies Beer. We talk about absolutely nothing. We're treated with a very special guest today. This is my brother, Junior. He's going to be our subject matter expert today. I'm Thomas, as always.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Thomas.
I wanted you to say who you are, Matt.
Oh, we've never done it this way before. You throw like a huge curveball at me.
I know. So. I'm really trying to get you to learn. Today's sponsor is On the Rocks. Just so we're all aware, we'll talk about that later. Sorry.
And behind me, I have guest speaker Jack Rabbit. Well, semi-subject matter.
He's Army. We really just kind of let him hang out, you know.
He feels important.
Yeah.
So he's sitting. He's honorary chair for us, right?
Yeah. He's just over your shoulder like a parrot.
Yeah, with his eyes like that, if I go like that.
Well, we'll be talking about building a survival kit, what to do in certain situations, the good stuff, you know. And we have a lot of really good things to talk about. But first, as always, Matt, we have to take our shots.
We do.
All right.
As always, you sound disappointed. That's one of my favorite parts of the show.
It's the best part of the show. You go first, though, because I'm still kind of thinking a little
We have to go one by one?
One by one, you got to take your shot.
Oh, my God.
You either get to take a shot for somebody or at somebody.
I told him, and I poured him his shot already.
So, Junior, would you like to go first? If not, I'm more than happy to.
I will always be first through the door, absolutely.
All
My
right.
shot is dedicated to my brother T. We've spent a lot of time snuggling, having fun, playing video games, Halo, all original series, and to Jacqueline back here.
Jacqueline.
And to Matt. Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers.
That was actually pretty good. That surprised me.
Oh, God.
Matt, your turn.
All right. Unfortunately, I do have to make kind of a sad shot tonight. A good friend of mine, how I put it, as I'm the resident old man of the group, and try to pass on the mistakes that I've made to you guys. The friend of mine who was that to me passed away this last week. He was an amazing man. His name was Brad Sparks. He was a father of 3. His youngest is 9. So, cheers to him and all that he stood for.
Well, you should have gone for it.
I know. Fuck. No, it doesn't matter what I say. I'm gonna look like an asshole.
You're going to do it to Mr. Sparks as well, T.
No, I don't know, Mr. Sparks.
That's kind of the best. He was Texican.
No.
He was a Mexican from Texas.
Yeah, he loved it, and he brought it up all the time.
You know what? I'm gonna take my shot today for an unspoken hero, a man who has cleaned and cooked for our family. This goes to Jack, the resident maid in our household right now. So he's not paying attention, but here's to you, Jack. I love you.
Jackie said he loves you, and that shot's for you.
Okay. God.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
My shot was provided by Jose himself. For those of you wondering.
Mine too.
Hey, twins!
Samesies.
Just so Junior and Jack are aware, Matt's wife made us Christmas sweaters.
Nice.
Moscato.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
You got to show them the bottom's the best part.
Blitzen.
That escalated quick.
Yeah. She actually made us a camping shirt for when we all went camping in Missouri. Awesome lady. And she sent one for Holly. So I'm really excited to give that to her on Christmas Eve.
I can't wait to get my Christmas gift from her, too.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Yeah.
It's in the mail.
Yeah, it's in the mail. The funny thing is that we have one consistent viewer throughout all of this, and it's Matt's wife.
She actually gets mad at Thomas when he doesn't upload the podcast because she listens to it at work on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Or Fridays.
Fridays.
Good.
It's actually really cool. But
Devoted fan base.
so today is all about survival, right? I have survival training, like official survival training. My brother spent a lot of time in law enforcement, doing a lot of extra cool shit, and so he's going to be our subject matter expert. And so we're going to go into what, and we've talked about this before, but what is essential in a kit, right? Like what are like the first 3 things you start packing, Junior, when shit's hitting the fan?
Okay. Well, it depends on what kind of shit and what kind of fan, but I mean,
let's say Russians are invading.
the Red Dot style.
Red dot scenario. Let's go straight Russians.
Straight Russians.
There was Koreans in Red Dawn.
It was Koreans Red Dawn.
Wasn't
but
it?
the original was Russians.
The original was Russians.
No, there were Koreans too. Wasn't there?
I don't think so. No, it's Russians because of the Cold War, and then it turned into Koreans.
Cold War, Soviet style. So
Yeah.
I think the original was Russians.
And then we were trying to be friendly with Russia, and then they started fucking around and finding out again. So
We did Koreans. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I'm not really afraid of an army of Koreans. Like one Korean man is worth maybe 4 or 5. Like one Jack is worth 4 or 5 Korean men. So
I would rather fight 1,700 Koreans than one Russian for sure.
fuck that.
God, those guys are nuts, especially in this weather today. Yeah,
Yeah. They're gonna be coming out shirtless with just like a fucking hat on.
not even. I know.
Not bothered.
In this weather today, Thomas had shorts on.
Yeah, because it's like I have heat, like in the house.
It was cold outside.
It's actually freezing, Matt. Officially, it's freezing. It's
Ooh.
22 degrees.
It's legit cold here. It'll last for like 3 days, and then it'll be back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
After.
Actually, I do think it's on Wednesday. It's back into the 80s. So
It feels like negative 42 here right now.
fuck that.
You said 14 or 43?
42. Negative 42. That's with wind chill.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Podcast outside. That's beautiful weather.
I thought about it, but it's just a little too windy. Gets too much hot mic.
I get that. That makes sense. Yeah. But answer the question, Jared, what are the first 3 things you grab in that situation? Or actually, in that specific situation, because that's interesting.
All right. Well, that specific situation, first thing you're going to want is a weapon.
Okay.
Right. Pistol, preferably some type of rifle platform. M4 is the most common you're going to find in most households these days. Some people like to collect AKs or whatever, but you're definitely going to want some type of weapon. You're going to want some ammo, and those are the 2 biggest things: weapons and ammo, and then socks, because you're going to be out in the field a little bit. You're definitely not going to want your feet to get all jacked up.
Hey, that's a big thing. I've seen trench foot at Sear, where a dude took off his sock and the bottom layer of his foot slid off. Just
Yeah, it sounds delicious.
it was nice and mushy. Warm your socks. Change your socks, boys.
Water. You ain't going to get very far if you don't got any water. But water's very heavy too, so that kind of sucks.
Now think about it though. Would you prefer to bring you have like a water bottle, right? But grab a gallon of bleach? Because
So, what, you can sanitize water?
yes, you can sanitize water with I think 2 or 3 drops of bleach per gallon.
Yeah. You can, what's it called? Yeah.
So you think things to think about,
Sure.
should I grab all this water, or should I have bleach in the bathroom? Should I just grab that bottle of bleach and throw it in the back of the truck?
No. I wouldn't grab a bottle of bleach. That would not be my first. Because you can just boil water for 30 minutes and you'll be good to go. Most of the bacteria is going to be out. It's not going to get everything, but it's going to get most of it. I wouldn't go for a bottle of bleach unless I was trying to make a bomb, I guess.
I don't even know that's like a chemical bomb. But what are some things that people don't think about? Because like Jack said, socks, a lot of people don't think about that, but your feet are your main mode of transport a lot of the time. So taking care of them is a big deal. What are some other little things that you wouldn't you wouldn't necessarily think about.
So for a wartime scenario, which pretty much that would be, because it's not necessarily survival as much as it is just like surviving an attack and invasion. You're going to be in the wilderness, more than likely, depending on your location, but you're going to want to get out of the city for sure. You're not going to want to be gridlocked anywhere because somebody's invading. They're going to start going house to house eventually. They're going to start kicking down doors, making sure everything's cleared out. So you're going to want to get into the woods and the forest, outside the city limits and everything. So if that's the case, you're going to want if it's summer, winter, it doesn't matter. I mean, always make sure you have pants, long sleeve.
Yeah.
Whether it's cold or hot, it doesn't matter. You want to protect that skin from everything, from bugs, mosquitoes to weather elements and all that stuff. That's definitely a huge thing.
E-tools.
Little what?
Little shovel.
Yeah, little shovel. Little Leatherman with a pocket knife on there, and multi-tool kit would be pretty cool. Some type of flint steel to do a little fire starter kit. So you don't have to carry around matches and lighters and stuff like that. Something you're able to.
That can get wet and get ruined.
Exactly.
You're not able to use it anymore.
And it's not sustainable. I mean, it's only got an X amount of uses anyways if it doesn't get ruined.
I mean, technically, flint and steel only has an X amount of uses. And let's talk about the fact that a lot of people Matt, do you know how to use flint and steel to start a fire? Like, have you ever done it?
Well, I mean, I've watched Alone, so I mean, I'm probably good.
Oh, yeah.
But no, like I've never had to. I mean,
What about you,
I have
Jared?
matches, I have lighters,
If you start
Yeah.
it is
A lot of work.
incredibly hard to get a fire started with flint and steel.
Yeah, so like in the movies where they put the little stick and the leaves and
The
bow, string and stuff, that's exactly how it is. It's just like the movies. It probably takes about 2 minutes.
No.
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 Incredibly sucky. And the flame you get is teeny tiny, and unless you immediately engage that flame with some oxygen and start blowing on it, and you have the right kindling, that flame's not going to go anywhere. But that is your best chance for starting a fire, like without having a whole bunch of tools and resources disposable at you.
It's true.
That's your best chance for survival. But then again, you start a fire, okay, then you also risk giving away your position as well. So there's those elements too, and you have to consider. Really the best thing you can do is have a go bag ready with a bunch of essential stuff in there. All this stuff, socks.
I love how you looked at Jack. Socks.
Sounds stupid.
Socks come in handy.
My God.
Have you guys ever heard of a South Dakota fire? A South Dakota fire pit?
Isn't that when you have the fire pit, but you
Yep.
pull the smoke
And
through
you
the
have
ground?
holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
So that way it
mitigate your
doesn't-
smoke.
Yeah, it doesn't leave a smoke trail then.
I
It was
made them before.
it was invented by
That's hard.
natives up here in South Dakota.
Yeah, I've never messed with that. I know you can also sock. You know what? It's funny. I just remembered socks have a multi-purpose. Yeah, you can. What are you laughing at?
We've changed the episode from survival to the multi-uses of socks.
Today at Sammies Beer, we're going to be talking about what you can and can't do with
I thought about
socks.
this, and then he confirmed you can use it to filter water. Like you can put rocks in there and have a weapon. I mean,
You're not wrong, though.
bars of soap, whatever.
Pennies.
You can put tennis balls in there and throw it for your dog.
Yeah, exactly. But seriously, the water thing is a big thing because it's a filter. Like it can definitely serve as a filter.
It serves as like a filter for sediment, but not for bacteria,
Use the correct sock.
Yeah.
We need to clarify there. Do not just filter water through socks and then drink it from the lake. Do not do
You're
that.
going to shit yourself if you do that.
Yeah, if you got a bottle of vodka or tequila that's shitty and you put it through 10 pairs of socks, it's like triple distilled by that point. It's good to go.
Pungent. The flavor is described as pungent. Like a pickle.
Maybe you guys know this because I don't know why I just thought of this, but you've always seen you've heard of people like filtering vodka through like a Brita filter.
That's a legit.
If I go to the lake and I get water and I filter it through a Brita filter, is that going to take out everything I need to?
It's
Can I drink water at that point?
It's not going to take out the bacteria, I'm pretty sure.
It's not going to remove the bacteria.
Okay, I didn't think it would, but I don't know why I thought of it, but I was like, wonder, can I just carry around a fucking giant Brita filter and be good to go? Like,
Right.
Well, and they do have those straws you can use to drink that actually do filter out almost everything.
Yeah.
But those, there's a chemical compound that has to be associated with things like that.
well, those have got to be a very limited use too, don't they?
Oh,
The
yeah.
straws.
Yes, very few.
Yeah, and these Brita filters, they advertise as purifier, but that's pretty loose. It's like Germex eliminating germs. It doesn't really eliminate everything. Like it'll eliminate the sediments and these extra minerals and stuff that they put in the water that you don't necessarily need or may or may not need. Whatever. I'm not a doctor, but it doesn't kill the bacteria. It doesn't kill the germs. Like you still have to eliminate that. Anytime I went into like the wilderness or did anything like that, and I wanted to purify my water, and I never boiled my water. These little iodine pills. There's pills or there's drops, but I like these little pills. You put them in there, let it sit for about 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, just depending on what kind of pills you got.
It gives it a funky taste, though.
It gave it this very weird taste, almost like pool water.
Mm-hmm.
But it was clean water. It was good to go, and you can like literally get a whole bucket of lake or river water or whatever, drop them in there, and it was good to go after X amount of time, depending on how much water per volume.
And it's safer than bleach, right?
Yeah.
The ingestion of iodine is safer than the ingestion of bleach. Both can cause harm, but bleach can cause a lot of harm really fast.
Yeah.
Also, a very key, important thing to bring in some kind of situation like that is alcohol. Now, I'm not talking like your Tito's or your tequila, but having isopropyl alcohol is so fucking important in these kind of situations. The thing that's going to kill you in a long, drawn-out fight is infection.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time. It's just something to think about. In the 1800s, you fucking scratched yourself on a cherry bush walking through the woods, and you were dead at 15. You know?
Yeah, I
This shit
remember.
happens. You remember those days? So it's just there's things that you do need to bring, like tourniquets. Make sure you have at least one tourniquet, preferably 4. That way you can
Per person?
just
4 in general.
I say just 4 into 2 per person, right? Because if at that point you have to put 2 tourniquets, like a tourniquet on each arm, then you're fucked. Like, you're gonna die.
That's kind of what I was like. I mean,
That's
if I'm putting one on each leg and then I got to put it on 2 arms, like I'm probably dead anyway.
You know what? All my go bags, even in my truck, I have chingos. So I will preface this for people who aren't in Texas. The word of the day is chingos.
Chingos.
Okay?
Oh, new segment. Word of the day. Mexican word of the day.
Mexican word of the day, chingos. That means a shit ton.
Chingos.
Chingos.
Okay.
Chingos.
Yeah. So make sure you have chingos of tourniquets.
Yeah, they're important. And just all of your overall survival, you can prep all day long, it's luck. That's all it is. Like, something can happen. Something can just happen, and you're just like, well.
Well,
So
yeah,
you-
but something can just happen. Like, that's luck. But, like, if me and Junior go into the woods, Junior knows what he's doing. He's going to survive a lot longer than I am.
That's fair.
Not because he's lucky, because he knows what the fuck he's doing.
I'll keep you alive, Matt.
You know?
And we'll take you both out.
Are you kidding me? I've rescued 3 hogs before.
Let me take Jack out with Gabe. Some bushcrafting. That's sucks. Actually, bushcrafting for everyone who's super into bushcrafting and all that nonsense. Like, oh, it's so awesome! You get one with nature. Fucking sucks. It's a bad time the whole time you're out there. But you feel accomplished when you're done. It's like going for a run. Like it sucks the whole time, and then you finish. You're like, going for a run.
I never finished one.
But with go bags, like I have one. I think T, you've seen my green one.
Mhm.
That one's my favorite one. That one's my best one. I have more advanced stuff just because of my training and experience. But like in that one, I have like anything medical you can think of. I have stuff to start IVs with. I have suture kits. I have OPAs, NPAs.
For legal purposes, he does not have narcotics. I just want to put that one out there. That would be illegal. He does not have narcotics.
I do not. And I don't even have any bags to go with the IV kits anymore either. So.
Yeah, it expires so fast.
But I have the equipment there. But like anything medical, you can think of trauma, splints. That's the biggest injuries out when it comes to wilderness is like twisting your ankle, breaking your ankle, wrist, arms, all that kind of stuff because you're falling or you trip over something stupid. You run from a rattlesnake or something like that. So like
from
a
bee.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Biggest best thing you can learn to do is like to splint. Like honestly,
and it's not hard. It's not hard to learn.
Hard at all.
Splint the joint
and just keep that extremity straight and line it up.
Also, great thing to learn how to do is pulling traction. Right. So we have a lot of people who get a lot of injuries overall, and pulling traction is when you have a break that is causing your veins and your arteries to not push blood to the rest of the limb, right? So say I broke my arm and blood flow stops here because of the break. And so all of this is dying tissue. It's basically an internal tourniquet right now. And so pulling traction can pull the bone, so where it's sitting like this, pull it like this and have it connect. And first of all, your healing process is going to be a lot better because your bones are actually connected again. Secondly, you get pulse sensory and motor on the rest of the limb. And so just knowing the forms or using a stick and being able to at least attempt it can completely change the game from a friend who just broke his leg and now loses it to a friend who broke his leg and you just have to take care of him for a little while. He'll be back. Stuff like that.
Absolutely. So I just realized what my third item would be.
Condoms, right?
No. Yeah.
Matt's face. What the fuck? I use
know.
condoms.
Yeah, what are those? Actually, my third item, it's a half and half, whatever I can find. So on my go bag, I have nylon 1-inch webbing. So it's like just like a tubular webbing.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Am I explaining that right?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Like a strap.
Pantyhose?
Yeah. No, it's like a strap for when you tie something down on the truck.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's very specific. It's got to be at least 1 inch, double stitched, tubular webbing. So that means it's literally a tube of webbing that's stitched on itself, and it's able to hold almost 1,000 pounds, about 1,000 pounds. So either that or some solid rope that's equally comparable.
What is this, the Boondock Saints?
What the fuck are you gonna do with rope?
You laugh, but like I'd rather have webbing than rope, but rope's just as good. But like with webbing and even rope too, I mean, you can create a litter, you can create safety harnesses, you can like create safety nets, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can
build shelter with it. Yeah.
Shelter, yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like I have mine tied up, and I have it on an S ring on the side of my bag.
A lot of people in that profession carry a 550 cord, paracord.
Yeah, that's what Jackie was saying.
Yeah, it's. I built a shelter out of 550 cord. That shit, it works.
It's good, but that's pretty thin.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm thinking more on the rescue element.
Which
I like
would make
something
sense.
a little thicker. Like if I'm going to be using rope and stuff, it's not really. I want it to be.
You like your rope like you will like your women, just like a little thicker. I get it. Me too.
That hurts your hand.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're repelling from 550, that's so thin, kill your hand.
It would.
But it works.
Done it, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Won't recommend it.
It's interesting to get your viewpoint on this because all I think of when I think of a go bag is medical. That's all my frame of reference is. So I don't think about some of this other stuff. I've been through survival school, but it's still just not the forefront of my mind.
Yeah, I did. I did search and rescue for like 3 years, almost 4 years. I did the rescue swimming thing. That was my primary goal, and from there I was a secondary medic. And with the search and rescue, we had the water element, which was our primary role. But when I was at the border, we did a lot of trying to find these UDAs, unidentified, undocumented aliens. So these people coming.
Mexicans.
Proper term.
That's not necessarily true. They could have come from Guatemala and just be going through Mexico. They could be from South American. There could be European coming from Mexico.
A lot of Asians coming through, a lot of Middle Easterns.
Yeah. So you can't. They're not all Mexicans.
Listen,
some people some of them
Mexican.
down there.
Don't you shame
me? Aren't you Mexican American? Come
on. No, 100%. I'm a coconut.
So I want to talk more about your time in search and rescue. If that's all right with you. I mean,
that's the way.
I know we've kind of covered, some of the survival stuff but so did you actually, I know you've done a lot of training for it because we had the long conversation that one night. Have you actually gotten to go out and have you gotten to do some of those water rescues? I mean, do you got to get, what's the best rescue that you've gotten to get out there and do?
Best rescue. That's like an oxymoron.
I was saying that's a weird way to ask it, but where there's got to be ones that when you get done and you're like, holy fuck, what just happened? That was awesome, horrible, but somebody's alive because of me right now.
I never really had that feeling where awesome, somebody's alive because of me, but I definitely understand what you're asking. I don't know how familiar you are with Texas, but
I know it's one of the 50 states.
Yeah, big and everything's better. Yeah. So there was a pretty big flood back in 2015, 16. I remember. I think 16. No, I think 2015. End of 2015, somewhere around there.
I think I remember that one.
Massive flood. Homes were swept away. This creek. So picture this tiny little bridge that goes into this just beautiful tiny town that's a bunch of log-looking log cabins, like a ski town almost, but very, very small. And then you look down, it's at least 110 drop. Okay, well the water was at least 20 feet above that, right? So that's how much flood water we had, and it just happened instantly. It was a flash flood. That was my first introduction, so we ran rescues all night long. It happened in the middle of the night, of course, because nothing can ever happen during the day.
Right.
So that was my big first introduction. I mean, there was an entire, it was just a terrible night. There was an entire family. This dad was, he was from Corpus, and they were staying at a family friend's house, I believe, family friend or family's house. Anyways, it was him and his wife, 2 kids, boy and girl, and then I believe the mother-in-law or mother, one of those. So they were in the house, and they had this flash flood warning of, okay, everyone, we're getting out, we're going to evacuate, we're going to go to higher ground. Well, he was literally loading up the truck, tries to go back into the house, well, the entire house gets swept away, so his whole family's gone. And I think they recovered the daughter and the wife, but the rest of the family we were never able to find them. So that was kind of when reality set in, because we were all kind of there just standing by trying to help people. At that point, we were helping people evacuate. We weren't really in rescue mode at that point. We were okay, come on, let's go. We're going to help you all. We're going to escort you. This is the way to go. Here are our big bright lights so you can see, because it's dark and it's raining and it's storming. And then before you knew it, it was just in the movies, you just see a wall of water and then just swept everything out.
That's crazy.
And I know that's not really a rescue, but...
no, but that's still got to be intense.
That's the reality.
That's a moment where it solidifies in your mind how real it is,
Well, yeah, because what do they say? 3 inches of water can pick up your car and move it?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, yes.
And so we get
3 inches would be a lot then, right?
Yeah, so 3 inches is a ton.
Some would say too much,
right?
It's I don't care what anybody says.
Plenty.
Yeah, it is almost too much.
I would say it's just a little much.
More than 3 inches.
You need more than 3 inches. You're selfish.
Yeah, you're selfish.
That's not our problem. That's your problem.
Yeah,
Exactly.
God damn it. I'm sorry. I had to turn it a little bit. I don't want to get too sad. We've had a couple episodes where we've been down in the dumps sometimes. You know,
So-
it's
You know
tough.
what? I'll tell you one of my funniest ones.
There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to hear, because you arrest people too, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb people out there. Let's hear about some dumb people that you've gotten to arrest. Like,
Well, this wasn't an arrest. This was a rescue. It was storming, and it was a bunch of tubers. It was on the river. A lot of my water rescue was on swift water, so a lot of it was river based.
you bet.
So here was this pack of tubers, and they were all just tubing along. So in Texas, we float the river. Other parts of the U.S. do it too, but in Texas, it's very, very, very prevalent. And so there are all these tubes. We're just floating the river. Are you leaving?
That would be bad.
Bye-bye, Jack. Anyway, so there all these people were tubing, and the water came rushing, and you just see tubes flying everywhere. It was being silly, and we weren't even slated to rescue. We were just doing training, so like we didn't get called out. It just kind of happened to happen in front of us, thankfully. And so we start jumping in, and we already had our lines tied off, and we have these different safety measures and stuff. So we were already good to go. It happened right in front of us. Well, the last one was mine, so I jump in after him, and I'm trying to save him, and he's just swimming, and he's screaming and yelling, and he's drowning, but he has his little dog, and he's just up there, and the dog's it was like a poodle dog, dude. It's like a tiny-ass little dog. And this little dog's just like, oh, this is fun. And this dude's like, you just see water spilling out of his mouth, and he's drowning. And I'm like, let go of your dog. I got your dog. And he's just sinking lower and lower. I had to pull him, and I'm starting to swim, and his damn dog started going under. So I had to grab the dog. So I couldn't even swim. I was just kicking with my feet, and I was yelling at him, hey, you need to start swimming. And he's just, oh, just save my dog. Let me die. Save my dog. No.
You know, this story would be, it's funny. This story would be funnier if it was his beer. If he's drowning, but his beer's still up.
Oh, I've seen some talented dudes go underwater, and their little beers are like those things in the submarines, the scopes.
The fin.
Yeah.
It's like the fin of a shark. It's just at the
The
top.
beers never go under. It's perfect.
So you guys they were just out tubing, and they had to be rescued.
Yeah, the water just surged all of a sudden. Yeah. So, like, what the thing that sucks about being in the river is you just have to be mindful is a lot of the stuff happens upstream. So just because you're having a beautiful day in Point A, Texas, or wherever, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and doesn't mean that Point B, which is maybe 50 miles upstream, isn't. So they could be having like record-breaking rain, and it never touches you, but all that water is accumulating, and it's got to go somewhere, and it's going to follow the stream. And before you know it, it's hit you, and it's just like a wall, and it just jacks everybody up. Happens a lot. That's where the term flash flood comes to, you know.
Well, shit, I never actually thought about that. I'll be real honest.
Yeah, that flooding's usually not because, when it comes to rivers, at least, it's not because of like extreme weather in that spot. It's usually upstream somewhere, and it's coming down.
Makes sense.
Drowning is just such a terrifying concept. Also, just
Very peaceful.
I don't believe you. You've held my head underwater several times, and I fucking freak out.
I was saying that would probably be one of the scariest ones for me is drowning.
Besides being on fire, I think that's a little worse.
Fire would definitely be. Drowning is peaceful. Like, I've come close where I'm like, oh, well, I'm underwater, and like I've had it to where we're doing drill, and this is just during training, not even. Strangely enough, like all of our mistakes, we jacked up so much in training. So much. We made so many mistakes, so many stupid little errors. And then when it came to mission time, we didn't. Very few mistakes were ever made. I don't know, by the grace of God or whatever. It was really very, very grateful for that. But during training, oh my God, there were times where we have drills where it's like fishing. So we would send people down these rapids, like massive rapids, and we would be kitted up and everything. And we would jump, and our job was to jump and grab them, hold on to them, and then let the current take us, and then we get reeled in like a fishing rod. So those were the worst drills because as the rescuer, you're pretty much left underwater. Like you're not going to be breathing because you have the dude on top of you, especially with that current of the water and you're getting pulled and all the resistance and stuff. So you just have to learn to hold your breath. Well, one of the times I remember I jumped after them and I hit a cyclone, an underwater cyclone, because those are pretty common, especially when you have two different types of pressure systems coming together. They create spins. And it'll take you. And the spins don't last very long, but it was enough to where it spun me, and then the stupid cord wrapped around my neck, the rescue cord. And so I remember I was like, well, I can't breathe because I'm underwater. And then I started going, I was like, oh, this is getting tighter and tighter. I'm starting freaking out. Just little things like that, it's just, it builds scars, I guess, in a way, but then we kind of learned, okay, well, we need to learn how to read the water a little bit better and stuff like that.
Shit, yeah. So you don't get missed. Holy shit.
I didn't want to go in the water for, it took me the rest of the day to get over that because I was like, ooh.
The rest of the day?
Matt and I over here, I never get in the water ever fucking again. But
I've never been water rescue, but I've been skiing on a boat behind a boat before, and one of my skis catches, and then I keep holding on and get dragged under the water for about 4 feet, and I'm like, oh shit, this is terrible. What am I doing? Just let go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Just like that.
But that's interesting to think about, especially like the whole mistakes thing. You make mistakes, but that's what training's for, right? You make mistakes, so you can learn from your mistakes. We do it too for medicine. But can you, with the cord getting wrapped around your neck? Is that even a mistake, or is that just? It's not like you fucked up. You just got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But you know what? We learned. So we debriefed on it later because I wasn't the only one that happened to that day. That day was particularly really bad with the current. So we kind of dissected, okay, well, how are we going to get out of that situation? Because it was around my neck, but I still held on for the rest of the rescue. And it wasn't thankfully, it wasn't a very long pull outside the shore because you kind of learn how to use the water currents because, the water goes like that. So if you position your body the right way, the water's going to push you. You don't even have to swim. It's going to push you out. And so once that happened, I was able to grab the rope and just kind of maintain slack so it didn't keep tightening. But
which is good, because if not, you wouldn't be here. That would suck.
Yeah. I had a little
quick
bruise
thinking.
around. But no, we just kind of figured out how to not let that happen. And honestly, with that situation, we kind of determined it's just the luck of the draw. The best thing you can do is grab the slack and try to just.
And with that, you're probably not even passing out from lack of oxygen. If that rope hits you right, you're cutting off all blood flow. And you can pass. I've made people pass out within 5-10 seconds from a chokehold, let alone a rope.
Which, by the way, if your girl's into being choked, it's right there. Just don't go for any of this. Leave it alone. Right there. Boom.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how fast somebody goes down when you get them on the neck at the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 10-20 seconds like they show in the movies. If you're squeezing right, it's 5-10 seconds tops, and they are limp.
Grab that carotid artery.
Both of them.
Yep.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Oxygen is essential.
Blood flow. Good things.
I don't want to go too in depth on the medical for that. Oxygen's poison, but it's not. It's crazy.
Too much of anything. The only thing you can't have too much of is beer
and bitches. But shit. Another question I wanted to ask you, right, is let's say instead of Russia invading, it's going to be a natural disaster instead. That is obviously going to change what your kit's going to be. I don't think you'll prioritize weaponry at that point. I hope not. You never know.
But why wouldn't you prioritize weaponry at that point? I mean, you still got to eat.
I guess that's fair too.
You're still going to be defending yourself.
All right, so let me give you an example. So 2017, we had Hurricane Harvey in Texas.
Yes.
Right. So I responded to that. I was there for 3 weeks, living out of my car, eating MREs or meal ready to eat. Like these little for those 4 of you listening that don't know,
it's 8.
They're like these little lunch bags that you put a little bit of water and break a little hot seal and it cooks a mush meal, but it's pretty tasty.
It's pretty good. They're pretty good now, I will say. MREs nowadays are really good.
And they have Skittles and Tabasco and all kinds of stuff.
They do. And laxative gum. So MREs were developed and they specifically stop you up so you won't shit in combat. But it comes with a gum, and the gum is a laxative. It's a laxative. Help you get over that.
Anyway,
it's so genius when you think about those two things together. Like, hey, we're gonna feed you this food, and it's gonna make you not shit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you this package of gum.
Yeah, and we're not changing the formula.
When you're ready, chew the gum, and it's go time.
Little tip and trick. A lot of people know about it, but there is a napkin right in there, but it's a microfiber towel, so it's like almost like a cheesecloth, and it comes with coffee. If you put the coffee in the towel, roll it up, just like a little pouch, and you put it, like you would like chew or dip or anything. You actually are brewing coffee in your own mouth, and I know I did that a fuck ton in survival school. Some TAC-P showed me best goddamn thing on the planet. Your breath smells like coffee, which is better than what it smelled like earlier, and you're actually brewing coffee. You're swallowing it. You're not spitting it out like you would tobacco, and the caffeine actually goes through the blood-brain barrier right here, and it is perfect.
I'm really disappointed right now. I was 100% sure that when you were talking about doing something there, that we were going to have a shit story about you taking the laxatives or something. And you just told me that you fucking dipped coffee. Who cares about you dipping coffee? Come on, man.
So when I was in survival school, I have stomach issues, right? And I was eating MREs, and a lot of people didn't shit for like the whole week because we didn't have enough calories. If I eat something, I'm shitting it out in like 30 minutes. That's just how my stomach is. Where we were at, there were ground hornets. We always kept an eye out for them, whatever. We were rucking, and I felt the rumbling in my tummy because it was time, finally. It was after the rabbit stew we had. Probably wasn't cooked all the way through, whatever. And I was like, oh, I gotta shit. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Go dig a hole, take a big dump. It was peaceful. I was squatted there. It was the sun was out. It was cold. They were, it was beautiful. And I'm like mid shit, and I just hear like a big old, and I like my shit drops, and a bunch of fucking hornets come out to right where my shit landed, and I got stung all over my ass because I took a shit on a hornet's nest in the woods. And I got lit up. I was pissed.
That's your own fault. You should have paid attention.
They weren't flying in and out, and and it was like not like a log. It was just like a. But so not only did I shit,
not only did we get sound effects, we got a visual with that as well.
The hornets were covered in it. But that's also when I learned that chewing tobacco, the oil and the grease from it is actually it helps with stings. And so one of my buddies was chewing, and he got some of it and rubbed it on my ass. It is what it is, on the cheek.
So what you're telling me is you shit on a hornet's nest, and then your buddy took his fucking WAP juice and wiped it on your fucking ass.
And it worked. I'm not even ashamed of it. It worked. It stopped hurting almost immediately. It was awesome. But imagine the picture because...
And he also tried to convince you to pee on it?
No.
We know he did.
He went for the piss first, and then he's like, "Actually, it's just tobacco juice." And he's like, "It's not there."
It worked.
Please.
It worked.
But you gotta smack it in there. You can't just rub it.
You really had to get it in there. Circular motion.
You want it to sting a little.
It's something you don't think about, and it was cool. But yes, I do. I think I have a shitting story for just about anything. So.
Do you want to hear my shitting story for the week?
I would.
So Tuesday, we were scheduled to get we got a new bed. Bed was supposed to arrive between 9 and noon. About 10 after noon, I called and I'm like, "Hey, the bed's not here yet. What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. Shipping, whatever. So finally at like 20 after, they call me and they're like, "Hey, we're going to be there in like 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm working, doing stuff. 15 minutes later, I'm like, "Oh, fuck, I got to take a shit." So I run upstairs, take a shit. As I'm like pinching it off, they call and they're like, "Hey, we're here." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." Fucking finish up, run out, go let them in. And I don't have a big house, and my bathroom is at the end of the hall. I turned the fart fan off and everything. They come walking in, I let them in, they bring the box spring in, and I come walking down the hall after them, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I just took a fucking huge dump, and I can tell how much it fucking stinks in that hall." I had to have ruined these two guys' fucking day. It fucking smelled like it was mine, and I'm like, "Oh, that fucking smells." Like I walked down and turned the fan on and closed the door. They didn't say a word because I was also making barbecue sauce in the kitchen, and they're like, "Your barbecue sauce smells really good." Yeah, I'm sorry, my shit didn't. I felt really bad for those guys.
Oh, fuck them. You're their story on their podcast. "I want you to deliver this mattress and this guy. I don't know if he shit himself or he shit in the hallway, but it was bad."
It was like I said, it was mine, and you know how normally your own beef smells good. This I was walking in and I'm like, "Oh." I mean, like, you know how it is when you fart and you're like, "Oh, that fucking stinks." You're not like, "I need to vomit right now," but you've smelled other people's and you're like, "Fuck, this is nasty." Like, I'm gonna go throw up.
There's a word for that, and it's called pride. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're okay with your own beef.
Not always. I've cast myself out of my own room before.
Well, guess I'm not that impressive.
We are getting closer to time.
But we didn't get started till a little bit later, so we got a couple extra minutes tonight.
We do have a couple extra minutes. Usually I ask Matt advice at this point in time because we're at 50 minutes. But recently Matt's been giving me great advice, and I don't have a whole lot for him recently. And I always ask you for advice anyways, Junior, whenever I'm going through any kind of tough situation, just because you're old. I want to talk about the elephant in the room, that he is my blood-related sibling, right? We're fully related. I know he's more handsome than I am. It's the beard. It's just a fact. I get it.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, gentlemen.
But if there's anything you guys would like to talk about, please feel free. I've kind of run out at this point currently.
Well, I mean, I can keep talking.
Go for it. Yeah.
Like, I mean, Junior, you being the guest, I'm sure that people would love to hear what you have to say on tell us about Thomas as a kid. I mean, I want to hear.
No, don't you fucking, because he's going to lie through his fucking teeth.
I don't care. Fucking make this shit up and make it fucking good. Tell us. Give us the fucking tea.
Let's preface this by saying Junior was a fucking dick growing up. Him and my brother would get pellet guns while I was sleeping, wrap Afghani scarves around their faces, and yell at me in Arabic and shoot me while I'm sleeping. Just constantly. I was terrorized by my brothers growing up. Fucking terrorized.
That's a lot to So you would wrap scarves around your head and yell at him in Arabic?
Look,
I don't know if I'm mad. I'm really amazed. Like, I'm super happy with you right now.
look, we had fun growing up. We had a pretty good childhood. We didn't struggle a whole lot. Thankfully, we were very, very, very blessed growing up the way we did with our family, having a good support system, um, good strong backbone, morals, all that stuff.
Getting into fights.
We fought a lot. We bickered a lot, but it was just kind of brotherly love stuff. You know what I mean?
So, Junior, can I get? I want the truth on this because obviously you're Thomas's older brother, and Thomas has said a lot of stories about him getting into fights. Did Thomas get into a lot of fights when he was younger?
At like school and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we all did. We all did. We all always fought. Like, anytime most of our fights were around defending other people. Like standing up to bullies, that kind of stuff. Like that was instilled by our dad from an early age. I don't remember because I was little, but they tell stories where people, my brother Thomas, I call him T, he was like in a stroller and these little kids were picking on him, throwing dirt and rocks at him, and I'd come and just beat their ass because they wouldn't leave him alone,
I think I've told that story before, actually, on the podcast. Yeah, we just have 1,000 of them who've grown up just being little fucking firecrackers,
We're a fighting family, but we don't fight people unless we have to. That's our last resort. I don't like to fight. My brother doesn't like to fight. So if I ever see him getting riled up about to fight, it's for a good reason, and vice versa. And so we're just ready to go.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've taught my boys. I'm like, we don't start fights,
No,
but we finish fights.
absolutely. You're not going to be a little punk and back down and somebody wants to go, okay, are you sure you want to ride this ride? Because there's only one way this is going to go. It's the one way ticket.
My oldest son actually got into a fight 2 weeks ago at school, and they have sleds at school that they get to ride down, and this other kid had a sled and started hitting my son with it. My son started, he's been told, like, somebody hits you, you hit him back. You don't, we don't put up with shit. He gets home from school, and I knew about it because the principal called us, and he comes in, he's like, Dad, I got into a fight at school today. I'm like, yeah, I know. We'll get to the truck and we'll talk about it. And tells me, I'm like, all right, so what happened? And he's like, well, he had a sled, and he's like, I was trying to hit him, but it was hard. And I'm like, yeah, he had a fucking shield. Like, what? I was like, did you back down though? And he goes, no, I kept trying to hit him in the face. You're fucking A right, bud. Get it.
There you go. Here's some ice cream. Good job.
Yeah, we literally went and got ice cream afterwards, and we didn't go like gas station soft serve. We didn't go Dairy Queen. We went to like a super nice place. I spent $20 on 3 fucking ice cream cones.
There you go. Good job well done.
We've always been instilled with that since we were kids, and a lot of that goes to both of our parents, our dad and our mom.
Yeah.
Mom's even more violent than dad.
Yeah, our mom can take her earrings off with
One hand, just in a second. They're in her hand. You're like, oh shit.
like, shit.
But
I think that's important things to instill in your kids, though. Like,
100%.
you don't start fights, but you finish them.
Yeah, don't be afraid to back down.
I actually have a really interesting story about Junior, and it's not so. In Korea, when we were in Korea in high school, when you played a sport, you got to go to Japan for a week. Paid for, like everything's paid for. You and your team, you go to Japan to play in a tournament. Super cool, super awesome. And I was dating a girl at the time. It's high school, whatever. We've been dating for a while, and some other dude was hitting on her and telling her he's gonna like steal her from me. Freshman of high school kind of bullshit. And I just sent a message to Junior via Facebook, and like I'm not exactly sure because I wasn't there what happened, but all of that shit just stopped. Like just 100% stopped. And I don't even know what happened. I just knew.
So is this you asking for what happened?
Some clarification, if he even remembers. That was over like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was a while back. I think I remember. I mean, Yeah, it was just some little boy being stupid. I mean, back in I was that kid in high school that ran the school. That was me.
That's actually not a lie.
Like I was, and I wasn't some big beefy dude who was intimidating or anything. I was just confident. I just had a lot of friends. I was never a bully. I never talked a bunch of shit. I just hung out with everybody. But definitely had some influence, and I think I remember that some little boy was talking. I think he was a freshman. Yeah, y'all were freshmen at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of walked up to him, kind of cornered him a little bit, didn't get into his face too much or anything, but had a nice little conversation with the young man and just let him know, hey, this isn't a route you want to go down, and I suggest that you cut it out right now. That was it.
That's one thing I will say that I learned. One of my good buddies, speaking of crazy Russians, he's Armenian,
Oh, perfect.
and I've taken many shots of vodka with him and his family. Huge get-togethers, shots of vodka. I watched his 70-year-old grandpa take 15 shots of vodka and puke his guts out. Fucking coolest thing I've ever seen.
It's a Monday night.
But this dude, he was so uncoordinated. I don't think he could walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. And there was one night I was talking shit to somebody because they wanted to fight us for some reason. And they came out ready to fucking throw. And this dude, like I said, I wouldn't trust him to walk and chew bubblegum. And he just went up and started fucking talking shit to these dudes, got in their faces like he was ready to go. And there was 4 of them, and they just fucking backed down and walked away. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? You couldn't even hit the ground and make it hurt.
It's all about confidence.
It is.
And it was 100% confidence on his part. It was crazy.
That peacock effect. You have the big bright feathers, you're good to go.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. This has been lovely. We are actually officially at time now,
We are.
gentlemen. So, Junior, thank you so much for being on with us. We'll definitely pull you on. I want to have a more curated talk with you about law enforcement and funny arrests and things like that. So we'll definitely have you on again.
I've got a good story about when I almost got arrested.
Oh, God.
Those are the best stories.
Oh, I have a story about when Junior was brought home by a cop as a teenager. We'll be sure to tell that one a different day. But thank you so much.
Little brothers don't forget shit like that.
No. I was the golden kid for a month.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Junior, for being on with us. Matt, you have anything left to say?
No. Junior, thank you for joining us. Your input and your friendship is always appreciated.
Do you have anything else to say,
You're
Junior?
awesome, dude.
No, I appreciate this. This was fun. This was cool. I feel like Jocko Willink.
Well, it's been real, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. Matt, send us off.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It has been a fantastic Thursday. Keep on keeping on.